well over 2.30 euros per liter of diesel. This government is ripping you off for €500 million more every month. The price of electricity is well over 30 cents on average. And today they're telling you again that there's no room to lower anything. And because none of this is supposed to get out, cell phones are strictly forbidden today before they head into the committee meetings tomorrow, so that nothing, absolutely nothing, gets leaked to the press, because they want to hide how they're leading you around by the nose. A very good Thursday morning. What they did yesterday and today really takes the cake. And slowly more and more citizens are waking up just thinking, let's get rid of this government. Do you feel the same way? Feel free to write it down below.
For example, during the coalition committee meetings, cell phones had to be left outside. Apparently, they also discussed the way the coalition works internally.
It's just about to happen that food prices will be raised. And that's exactly what they told the government yesterday, that they can't keep the prices stable anymore because of the increased burden. And here's just an example, a family where only the father commutes, where there's only one car in the household. It's just the higher costs that are affecting us now, about 200 euros a month. And many people no longer know how they can afford that. And since Friedrich Merz made a really great statement in the Bundestag the week before last, which I will of course show you again in a moment, are the citizens here in Germany fed up to hear and starting to rebel? We can already see that from the many petitions that have also reached me. And I really have to say also in general, the general atmosphere, you've probably noticed that even Germans are now just freaking out and rioting, but I'll get to that in a bit. But first, let's go back into the Bundestag so I can show you that I'm not making anything up, that there really isn't any money for anyone. And what exactly he said there, how it was a slap in the face for everyone here, let's listen to that again real quick. And if you want to support this channel, I would be really happy if you gave it a like and subscribed so we can reach even more people with this content.
My colleague, if something is classified as confidential in the Defense Committee, which I myself was a member of for one term, then it is confidential. It also stays confidential in the German Bundestag's plenary session.
That was the answer to targeted relief for the citizens. The whole thing is confidential. It's none of your business how you get relief, how you can pay your expenses, how you can pay your fuel prices. And now there are suggestions like maybe just making the train ticket cheaper. Maybe people in Berlin have noticed, but most people drive to work by car in the morning. Because most people live in rural areas, and that's also where much more fuel is used. Maybe they've noticed that trucks use much more fuel than cars driving around the city. Maybe they've noticed that people are at their absolute limit. However, what kind of relief they'll get, I have to tell you, is confidential. Now, not even cell phones are allowed in there anymore. Because they lie to your face and metaphorically just spit in your face. Because that's what they can do and nothing else. Which, by the way, the next clip will prove again before we go into detail about what kind of relief measures might be introduced.
However, these would immediately lead to significant revenue losses for the federal budget. These are measures we can consider. However, I also want to add, we can't offset every change in prices through tax measures or actions from the federal budget.
Hold on a second. And now let's get down to brass tacks, as we say up here in the north. This government is taking in 12 million euros more per day, which conversely, if you add it all up, means 360 million euros more per month. On top of that, there are a few surcharges we have. Large customers who are not being billed. And we're talking about almost €500 million per month that this government, not per year, but per month, is taking in more because of this war. And he's trying to tell us right now that there are no relief measures at all. The price of electricity has also gone up. And now we're talking about wholesale electricity prices, among other things, for companies. We used to pay 19 cents per kilowatt hour, and now we're at 27.9%. So those who have already received relief measures, here come even more. 300 billion euros are coming to us, I mean to this government, as additional revenue. But there are absolutely no, well, reductions. But now they're actually considering lowering the electricity tax a little. We're talking about a whole 6 cents here that would go to citizens. No, not for the citizens, sorry, for the big industries first. That's why cell phones have to stay outside again.
A lump sum allowance for traders could be one such measure, but it will only apply next year with tax returns. Thank you.
Yes, and the inflation report, so the additional costs that the citizen has to bear, they will be gigantic in the next inflation report. What do you estimate? During the Ukraine war, we had growth of about 39%. For that, they made TVs and mobile phones a bit cheaper. We're at, well, who can guess this number? I'll pause for a moment. Write it down. Just quickly write down below what you think, because it's actually not that funny. We're talking about a 29% energy spike, while today they're still explaining it to us with the cameras rolling. These costs will never go down again, because the state has gotten used to the extra income, and now we urgently have to spend this money somewhere. That's why a commuter allowance will probably be introduced. Oh, there's no majority for that in the Bundestag. That's a shame. They didn't even tell us that the SPD and CDU are against it because they'd rather keep the money for other prestige projects like NGOs and things like that. It's really a gigantic, let's say, talk or spinning top, as I like to say. Yeah, what's happening right now? And again, everything is happening today and tomorrow, in absolute secrecy, because you're not supposed to know where your money is going.
I'm skeptical about other measures, and I want to repeat what I said years ago. Even a windfall tax already seems to cause significant tax law problems just in defining what a windfall profit is.
And now comes the punchline, which you couldn't have described any better. Do you remember all the places where they committed constitutional violations? Among other things, because they used the budget for a different purpose with the windfall tax. Of course, everyone immediately got involved here. Richter, judges, the Federal Constitutional Court, all kinds of regulators here in Germany. That's unconstitutional. You can't do that. This government, this previous government, they have been committing constitutional violations of all kinds non-stop for about 5 years. The moment you want to go after your own party and maybe make sure that your own companies, your own party cronies possibly earn less money, here everyone goes up in arms. There will definitely be no excess profit tax. Definitely not. That would be unconstitutional. They shouldn't even try that. Just imagine if an oil company even saw its profits drop just a little bit. That would be crazy. Above all, then fuel prices would go down. That means, yeah, if they could make less profit now, just imagine they would collect less taxes, which would inevitably be the case. Let's just assume that the fuel price would drop back to 2 euros. Diesel. Then of this approximately 1 billion euros per month, 12 billion per year, there would be significantly less. That means only half of it could be spent. Does anyone seriously believe that will go through? But as I promised you, the voters are pretty angry. The voters are really angry, and by now the SPD only has a core voter base of 8%, it turns out. And this CDU, which claims to be business friendly, still has a solid voter base of 17%. Yes, at the federal election it was almost 25%. So I'm really talking about those solid voters who actually went and voted. And the AfD, well, their solid voter base has now grown from 21% to 27%. From 19 to 21. I almost mixed that up with the polls.
It remains the same. For now, the broken promise will not be corrected. That means there will be no reduction in electricity tax for consumers and small businesses. Yes, that's the meagre result of this meeting.
Yes, that's exactly how to put it. The group met for over 5 hours, led by Chancellor Merz, and afterward, Marie, there was no statement to the cameras. They just got into their cars here and simply drove away. Only a written statement was issued afterwards.
The same will apply again tomorrow. Only this time they were smart about it, and I've already taken a first look at it. I just can't publish it yet. They've written another written statement. Let me just guess. We can only relieve the big companies by about 6 cents. And the commuter allowance might be increased next year, but since there's still time for the next tax return, no one can keep telling it like that anymore. At first, it's presented as a great reform to sell it to you at the next elections. It's just ridiculous what's going on here. Honestly, you should just deregister your car, go to the welfare office and say, I can't work anymore. I give my money to the state and what I earn isn't enough to live on anymore. I'd be better off getting welfare. Then I get 5 marks more and might even have to risk my health just to keep this country running. And then there's this little bird on my shoulder that says, your parents didn't teach you that. Your parents always told you to work for the money you get. In all other cases, you become someone you don't want to be. Maybe it's something in my head, maybe something I should turn off at some point. But the fact is, yes, that's exactly how it happens, and they still think you believe their lies. However, I have to say only 12% still do that in Germany. Everyone else now believes this government is lying and that this government would have other options, but they simply don't do it.
They remain stubborn. The reduction of the gas storage levy and the network charges has to be enough. That's €100 for a family of 4. Lowering the electricity tax, there's no money for that. No wonder, because the urgently needed welfare reform is blocking the ESG.
The minus 100 has turned into plus 105 euros. So, relief measures are no longer there, prices are rising. Why? Because these welfare-related relief measures are not coming. It's mainly the relief measures involving the money that goes abroad. Here in Germany, husbands and wives are no longer allowed to have joint health insurance because there are migrant workers who, let's say, have family members in Turkey. But they don't touch the health insurance funds because they don't want to change that law, even though that's where a lot of money could be saved. It's only against our own population, against no one else anymore. They want to silence you maybe because they know they can manipulate these elections. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there and asking you what you think, whether these elections might really be manipulated.